I'm the Rick and Rick Turns. Today's project, a tea light candle holder for Christmas. Now this is actually a very easy little project to do. I've taken just a solid chunk of wood and I've hollowed it out down to about here so that I've got a place to put a tea light candle. But not just any tea light candle. This is an electric tea light candle. It's got a switch on the bottom. It's got a place for you to replace the battery if you want to. It produces zero heat really. So I can take this and put it inside a wooden container like this, and we really don't have any kind of a risk of fire, which if you put a real tea light candle in there, you probably wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't anyway. So after I hollow this out and leave a very thin edge here, I go back and I use a drill bit and drill holes here in the shape of a Christmas tree. And in a dim room with the tea light candle turned on, you get a very nice Christmas tree shape right there. And of course you can put any shape you want to on this. So let me show you how we did this. It should take you an hour, tops an hour and a half. Let's get started. As you might guess, this little project is not going to take much in the way of materials. I've got a chunk of cherry here, quite a bit more than I need. I'm going to cut this down to be about 5.5 inches high and about 3 inches on a side. I found that to be a pretty good size for the tea light holder. Now the tea light itself, all of these are about 1.5 inches in diameter. So you can't go real small with your wood block. If you made it 1 3/4 inches on a side, that's really pushing it. I found 3 inches on a side after it's turned down to round and so forth. It actually looks really good. So I'm quite pleased with that particular dimension. Now you're going to need some tea light candles here. What you want to get is electric tea light candles. This is electric. It's got a switch on the bottom, a little place to replace the battery when it finally wears out. And this particular one is not only lights up, but it flickers like a real candle might flicker. These are not expensive. I bought a pack of a dozen of these for $10 from Amazon. And finally, you're going to need to get a pattern or draw a pattern yourself or something to put on the front of the tea light holder. Now I got on Google Images and searched for drawings, Christmas tree and drawing snowflakes, and got a lot of different things I can use here. And this is the one I'm going to go with here. It's about the right size. It was a lot larger than that. I shrunk it down in software. And what I'm going to do is trace the outline of the whole tree with small holes. All right, let's go to the lathe and get started. All right, as you can see, I'm starting off mounted between centers. I'll be just turning a tenon on this. I'll get it down to round, turn a tenon on it for my chuck, and then we'll mount it in the chuck. All right, I've got my piece mounted back in the chuck here, and I'm going to re-round it down real quick and cut this end off square. Now I'm going to be hollowing it out to the point where I've only got about 1/16 of an inch of wood right out at the edge here. And that's because since it's going to be pierced, we want the light to show through it. The thinner it is, the better that light's going to show through. So to start off with, I'm going to be drilling a 1.5 inch hole. And as you can see, I left just a little dimple on the end so that I can get that drill bit started without too much trouble, which I'm going to do now. Get that right in there. Going to turn the speed down. That's about 500 RPM right there. So now I'm just going to start cranking it in. I'm going to back it out. Don't want to let too many chips build up behind it. Sometimes the drill bit can get stuck. As you can see, in addition to the length of the drill bit, I've got maybe another inch right there because this end of the Jacob's chuck is going to go right in that 1.5 inch hole, so that's good. All right, let's take a final measurement here. Excellent. I'm at about 3 5/8 inches. So 3 5/8. So I'm coming right down to here. I'm going to go ahead and mark that so I'll know where it's at. 3 5/8 right there. All right, that is the limit of my drill bit hole here. So I am going to leave a 1/2 inch down here. And that will be the distance I hollow to. So that gives me about 3 1/8 inches of chimney height here. Now to hollow this out, I don't have a square end scraper, and I don't really want to take one of my round end scrapers and make it square. So I'm going to use the edge of a skew. This works out pretty well. And I'll just be using the tip here, cutting off just a little bit. And I'm going to go all the way down to here. Now all the way down to there is, put a piece of masking tape on there. That'll tell me when to stop. All right, let's take a look here. Yep, we are right on the mark there. That's good. And the interior, right about there. Good, that's looking good. All right, just check this again. Good. I am right on a 1/16 of an inch, and I don't want to get any smaller there. It's getting pretty fragile as it is. This is the distance to the very bottom of the 1 1/2 inch hole. This right here is the distance of to the edge. So I've got that 1/2 inch there for the candle, tea light candle to fit into. So this part down here is going to be the base. And I'm going to make, actually mark the very bottom. That's good enough right there. I'm just going to put some, just going to put some burn lines in there. All right. Yeah, I like that. Very simple design. And now it's sanding time. So I'm going to turn off the cameras. There's no point in filming sanding. And I'll be back in a few minutes to part it off. Sanding's all done. I sanded the outside down to 1,000 grit. I sanded the inside down to about 400 grit. Inside, of course, really isn't going to show that much. So now, before I part it off, I'm going to put a friction polish finish on it. And for the interior, I'm just going to squirt some in there and spread it around. And now I'm going to put it directly on the paper towel and spread it on here. First coat I always put on with the lathe off. After that, maybe I'll put it on with it on, or maybe not. Depends on how sloppy it's going to get. And that about does it for the friction polish. It's got a nice shine on it. So now I'm going to go ahead and part it off at the base.